John.
What's going on?
Let's go. What's up, everybody? We're on the episode of 2 with Ruthless and Harp. Man, we got the voice of instrumental harsh reality, man. That's all it is.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. So let's get some of your thoughts on these 5 players that you got as your breakout players, man.
All right, 5 players that I have as my breakout players. Who I not just who I think, but who I think the Niners need to break out. I would say Drake Jackson. That's number 1 on my list. Just with the rest of the D line that he has to work with, you know, he's gonna get a bunch of one-on-one matchups he has to exploit. You know, you got Bosa on the other side. You got Armstead, and you have the new addition. Hargraves. I mean, he's just set up for success. So I would say the number 1 breakout player and who I think the Niners need to break out is Drake Jackson.
I like that choice because I think he's on the brink of getting 10 plus sacks, I think.
Yeah, and that would be great. If he can get 10 plus sacks with that group, you know, that's a top 3 defensive line in sacks right there if Drake Jackson could get 10 sacks. So that'd be a great season, and I think he will be a breakout player, and the Niners need him to break out.
Absolutely. I think by far that would be the guy that makes the second-year leap, you know, because he hit the rookie wall, and I think he's bulked up during the offseason and got in better shape. So this is the breakout season for him. The Niners didn't want to spend on a guy like Yannick Ngakoue, who's still out there. So they're cashing in on Drake Jackson. So I do like that player you just mentioned. I definitely did put him as my number 1 breakout player.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think if they didn't feel the same way, they would have brought in one of those veteran, proven edge rushers to pair with Bosa. So I think again, he like you said, he put on all that weight. There's been reports that he hasn't missed a step, so he's still fast. So it's still agile. So. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you know, that's a good one. I actually had him on my top list right there. So as far as your other option, who's like your other breakout player?
All right, this is a hot one. This is a hot topic. You know, my number 2 breakout player for the San Francisco 49ers, Trey Lance, number 5, baby.
Woo!
Yeah. So he's my number 2 again. The Niners need him to break out. You know, if he gets his chance, they need to see something, right? And I like what I've seen so far. He's just been injured and, you know, hasn't had a chance to prove himself all the way. But you know the Niners' luck, right? You know the Niners' luck with quarterbacks. With their luck this year, we're bound to see all of the quarterbacks play. So when Trey Lance gets that opportunity, whether it's the start of the season, whether, you know, if they want Brock Purdy to continue to get healthy, or whether it's down the road later in the season, if injuries happen, which I hope it doesn't happen, but with their luck, it does happen. I'm expecting Trey Lance to be that number 2 breakout player for the 49ers.
I like that, you know, because he's kind of been doubted and nobody gives him, he hasn't got a fair chance. So that's the question mark. And I guess the entire media is just writing him off. So I think that's somebody that could surprise people. I actually had him in between the number 4 or 5 list because I feel like the quarterback position, I don't think it matters who we got at quarterback because Shanahan can make this offense work, but Trey Lance has to be that guy that can take us further down, you know, to the next step. You know what I mean?
Right. Who on the Niners team at that quarterback position has the ceiling of Trey Lance? Again, it's a ceiling. It's potential.
Ceiling potential.
It's potential, but we have to see it because I have a feeling if he goes somewhere else, he'll eventually show it. So we'll definitely see. He has the power, the arm power. He's smart. He has to work on his short area accuracy, but I'm excited. I think he's locked in. He's focused. And from what I'm hearing, he did have a pretty good spring camp. So Trey Lance is my number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's just a lot of doubt on him. I like this question just to answer Grandizer's one question just for you. Is there a player who's undrafted that you're rooting for to make the team?
Undrafted player that I'm rooting for to make the team, I would say the corner out of Texas. I thought he had some good college film. He's a return specialist as well. And when you're a punt returner, I feel like you have a knack for the ball as well. So you have that ball hawking capabilities as well. So I'm excited to see him, Jameson. So I'm excited to see him. I think he's going to be at the top of the list during the preseason in takeaways.
I think by far he's probably the most intriguing one because he had a draftable grade. I mean, the guy was playing cornerback at Texas, Deshaun Jameson. This guy can return kicks and take it to the house. So I think by far he might even be the guy that beats out Ambry Thomas.
Yeah. Like I said, Ambry Thomas, he's had his chances. Not to write him off. I'm not in the business of writing people off. But he's had his chances. But I'm intrigued to see what Jameson is going to be about. And I think, like I said, I think he'll be that player on the back end at the corner position. He can play the nickel as well, and he'll be a ball hawk. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, that's my sleeper right there. But going into your number 3 breakout player, I got to hear this next one.
Number 3. I was going back and forth. Ayuk he wouldn't even be considered a breakout player, but I think he has more to show and offer. So I put him in as my number 3, just because I think he has the chance to be a top 5, top 6 receiver in the NFL. Especially in a pass-happy offense. But I think he'll be the Niners' number 1 this year, and it's going to be his breakout year. Possibly all pro numbers. I think he has those capabilities. So Brandon Ayuk, the best route runner on the team. I would say best hands. So he has a chance to be that top 5 receiver in the NFL. He's my number 3 breakout player for the Niners.
I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's just because he can prove to be the number 1 receiver because everybody's getting all the attention for Debo and Kittle and those other guys. So I think that would be somebody who wants to prove that he is the guy.
Yep. So I think he'll lead the Niners in receiving. So he has all those capabilities. So I'm excited. Yeah. That's one of my favorite players on the team too. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there's something there. He wants to have a contract. He's kind of like making a case for a contract next year so he can have a breakout year and bank in big time. So, I'm intrigued by the number 4 and then the number 5's all the way. I got to see which ones you got under the radar.
And so number 4 breakout. He's my number 4 because, again, I think the Niners need him to break out. He has something that all the other receivers don't have, and that's speed. And my number 4 breakout player is Danny Gray. Again, so that was a tough one. He has the speed that none of the other receivers has. He has that that deep threat ability that you need in the offense, right? You need at least one of those players to be able to take the top off. Again, I just saw that comment go by. Does he get the opportunity? He has to prove himself in practice, which we all don't get to see. So he has to prove himself in practice and prove himself in the game. He had that big catch with against Green Bay, that kind of put him on the map, right? He needs to improve on that and show that he can be that consistent down the field player, and then tighten up his game in like the mid area route running and then not catching it with his body, right? Catching it with your hands. You're a professional. Catch the ball with your hands and get busy after that. So Danny Gray, my number 4.
Yeah, that's a good one because he can have that second-year leap. He doesn't have to put up the big amount of yards. He just has to make the big-time plays when we need him to. So I think he could be the under the radar. So as far as your number 5, I think I got an idea who you're going to.
Let's see. Who you think I'm going with? Let's see.
Since you're a receiver guy, I don't know. Are you going to go Kittle or are you going to go Jennings? That's my guess.
No, so I was thinking more so somebody that needs to break out again, and that's the lone other side of corner other side of Ward, Lenore. So we need Lenore to have a breakout year, and again, and build on what he did during the late part of the season. I know he's good in off man coverage, in zones, and he has a good knack for the ball and being in position. But can he be that lockup person, kind of like what Mosley was? We can put Mosley on the island and be comfortable, right? Can we do that with Lenore? Again, he's proven to be a capable starter for this team, especially with this D line. But let's see if he can match the play of Travarius. And that's a number 1 defense right there. If we can have that happen. So he's my number 5 breakout player.
I like that choice because we all know what Ward can be. Mm-hmm. But Lenore, when given those opportunities, when he played down the stretch, he looked pretty solid, and he kind of proven that he wasn't the weakest link. So I guess he's up for the challenge. I think this is why they're giving him a fair chance to take that job. But I think it's his to lose unless another player beats him out. But I don't think so. They like what they've seen from Lenore.
Yeah, and I don't think so either. I mean, behind him, there's a lot of unproven corners. So I think he's gonna get a chance, and he may have a longer leash than other corners would, just because of the lack of experience behind him. So Lenore.
Yeah, I think as far as like your list, man, I got maybe a couple of guys off your list of people I had. I didn't even think of Danny Gray on my list. I had Jennings on the other list.
Nice. I like Jennings. That too. Let's hear it. What's it about Jennings?
Because if he wants to prove his worth, I think this is the year he breaks out. Maybe gets something like a Kendrick Bourne type season where he cashes out. I think when it comes down to him being in the red zone, I think this is where his opportunities will present itself, and he'll move the chains. He'll get more of the targets, but I think they're sleeping on him. So I think he could be the guy that steps in. He plays a lot of the slot roles. So,
and he's a big body. I feel like he's 100% on third downs, right? That's what it feels like on third downs. If the ball goes Jennings' way, it's an automatic first down. Again, and you need those type of players in the NFL. And if he can build on what he's done up to this point, and maybe add a little more. He does have some drop issues. Except for on third downs, it feels like. But he can have a big year this year, and like you said, like Kendrick Bourne, and get paid, and that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to get paid. So absolutely, have that type of year, I think he'll definitely get paid.
Yeah, absolutely. Since we're on this other topic, I know this is a topic that everybody's throwing out there, but do you buy or sell on Brock Purdy being the starter week 1?
I buy. He's deserving of being the number 1. But me personally, I hope that he's 100% healthy and he's not getting pushed out there just because. So I buy that he's the number 1, the starter, if he's completely healthy. Again, don't rush him out there. They say they have 2 capable quarterbacks behind them, so don't rush him out there. And whoever wins that number 2 battle, maybe it's for a week, maybe it's for 2 weeks. We'll see. Just let Purdy get healthy. And then, we'll go from there. But I buy for sure.
I think as long as the guy's healthy. I think if he's healthy and he plays back to the same form, then, of course, I'm buying into it. But I wouldn't sleep on Trey on that point. But I think as far as him proving his worth, I think we can't make an argument on that part. I think
Can't do it. I mean, hey, if you're going to go against somebody who was undefeated in all their games last year, not counting the Eagles one because he didn't get to finish. Something, you're crazy. So, but I think Trey Lance has the higher ceiling. But again, you can't go by ceiling if Purdy, he's proven himself. If he's healthy, he's the starter, hands down, no question.
Oh yeah, I think that's just I think as far as like buying, I would buy if he is healthy, but I would just put at the moment, since I'm hearing that he is recovering than expected, then I have to buy.
Yeah,
just for the moment. Just for the moment.
Same here.
Yeah. So let's go with 5 players you think that might disappoint us, that might just prove us otherwise. We'll see.
5 players. Again, not in the business of counting players off, but for this team, number 1, I'm gonna have to go Kinlaw, where he was drafted, what he has done up until this point. And again, injuries are very unfortunate. They're part of the game, but I feel like Kinlaw may be one of the players that that it's time for a new team, a different scene, just to try to get the Niners and all the disappointments behind him, right? So sometimes you just need a change of scenery, and Kinlaw is my number 1 who may be a disappointment. Hopefully not, but I can just see it all playing out that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Actually, I have him on my number 5 list of one of those guys, because I think as far as getting Hargrave, that takes away the pressure off of him a little bit. But I think he would still be a disappointment. Hopefully he proves otherwise. But since we're going on to number 2 for your other disappointed player, let's see if you agree on this player.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't know if this is just too much of a reach, but I'm thinking Jake Moody might. I don't know. Just kickers are hard. It's a pressure. Like, I don't know how I don't know how this kid's made.
I actually like that, and I'm not gonna lie to you. He wasn't on my list, but now that you've said his name, I can see that. He was drafted in the 3rd round. The history of Shanahan in 3rd rounds with running backs and just 3rd rounders in general not really panning out. I mean, I know Fred Warner was a 3rd rounder. That definitely worked out. But, just 3rd rounder in general, mainly running backs. But for Jake Moody, a kicker in the 3rd round, I'm expecting him to be a Pro Bowler, right? I'm expecting him to be automatic. We know he has a leg, but, reports have been that he's inconsistent in the mid-range. And those have to be automatic, especially where he was drafted. So no, I definitely agree. Jake Moody, I would put Jake Moody in my list now too. So.
Oh, now we're on the same page on that one. But who's your actual list on your number 2?
So my number 2 was Sam Darnold.
Ooh, the ghost, the guy that saw ghosts. Okay.
Yeah. So listen here, Sam Darnold has been. The mainstream media has been talking so highly of Sam Darnold. He's going to beat out Trey Lance for the number 2 job, which also could mean that he can start the season off for the Niners. He's getting the Niners fan. The mainstream media is getting the Niner fans' hopes up, right? So if he proves to be the Sam Darnold that we all know and we've seen Sam Darnold play. He started for multiple different teams, started a lot of games, and we haven't seen anything. Right. So I'm prepared to be disappointed, even though I know it's a possibility, a really strong possibility that he's not going to show us anything different than he has already. But he's my number 3, or was it 2?
No, like number 2 for you.
2, Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Yeah, because I only threw Jake Moody on the list just to see if I was guessing it correctly. But
yeah, I like that. I like Moody. I like that because where he was drafted. So.
Yeah, and then your number 3 would probably be something interesting I would like to listen to.
So my number 3, he was also on my breakout players. So I have to put him on both, because if he doesn't break out again, it's another 3rd rounder who's a disappointment, and I'm going with Danny Gray. So he has to prove himself, right? The Niners need to know what he has. And he's my number 3 for who might be a disappointment this year.
Boomer bust. So he's a boomer bust.
He's a boomer bust. I have a few boomer bust players, so we'll see.
No, but I mean, I'm intrigued by it now. Now, since you put Gray as your sleeper and then as your potential disappointment, that is a boomer bust choice.
He's a boomer bust. He's a boomer bust. So, yeah, we gotta see. We gotta see. He has to show the Niners what he's capable of. Again, they need him to be something, that deep threat person, especially. They say Darnold has an arm. He has one of the most talented arms that people have seen, and that's what the mainstream media is saying. So Danny Gray would be beneficial of that, right? And especially if Trey Lance gets a shot. So Danny Gray, boom or bust.
Yeah, boom or bust, and then you go on your number 4.
Number 4. So my number 4 is D. Winters, a rookie.
Ooh.
D. Winters might be a disappointment. I hope he's not. He's out of all the Niners rookies, he's by far had the best film to me, right? So he's flying around the ball. He's super fast. He comes up and hit. He makes the tackles. But I've heard that he's come into camp kind of overweight, not in shape. So he has a chance to be a disappointment, at least for the rookie year. Not going to write him off. I hope he proves me wrong. So I would say D. Winters is my number 4.
That's a bold one right there. I never thought of it that way, but this kid's a 6th round. So I guess the chip's on his shoulder now. So,
but he does have the hype. He had the hype all offseason. After everybody's seen his film, it's like, So I hope he proves me wrong. I think he will prove me wrong, and that's why he's towards the bottom of, might be disappointments. So most likely he won't be though. So.
Yeah, I like the choice. I think that's an interesting one. Just I never thought of it that way. But number 5, I got to see which one you got in mind.
Going to the tight ends. Tight ends, the 3rd rounder. Again, the history of the Niners 3rd rounders, mainly running backs. But hey, a tight end in the 3rd round, I feel like you have to blow us away, right? If you're picked in the 3rd round as a tight end, you're expected to play. And I think Latu will play, and he has to prove himself. But he's my number 5 player who might be a disappointment. We know he can block. We know he has drop issues, and he had his drop issues in college. Didn't really hear much about that in the spring. So hopefully he's cleaned that up. But yeah, Latu, my number 5 player who might be a disappointment.
Yeah, that's an interesting list. I mean, like all aside, I think the only ones I've agreed on the most is Kinlaw. I think Kinlaw was definitely on my list. Then you had somebody like a boomer bust, somebody that I didn't even caught off guard. But I guess East Coast Gridiron agrees with you on Cameron Latu. Yep. Oh wow! But he saw him at the Senior Bowl. Since this guy has credibility, he does a lot of his work. But I think the one player that everybody's going to have to watch out for is, this may sound biased, but I think Brandon Willis is the best tight end we drafted by far.
I think so too. I definitely think that he's the Jordan Reed that we've been looking for since Jordan Reed didn't pan out, and I think he could be that player. He's gonna. I don't even think he's gonna surprise people. I think he's gonna be that number 2. If not number 2, he's definitely gonna play a lot of football next year. So
he's gonna play a big role. But I never thought of throwing Latu out because I think he's already gonna develop. He's gonna be more of a project. I'm saying like somebody like Ross Dwelley who's going to be on his way out.
Yeah, I think Dwelley. I think he's ran his course with the Niners. He hasn't shown anything, since he's been with the Niners. I mean, I've seen him on the field, but I don't. What really has he done with the Niners that'd be like, oh, okay, we need to give him more reps. So.
Yeah, as far as the 3rd round picks in the Niners past history, it hasn't been quite as well, except Fred Warner. Fred Warner and maybe a couple of players, but those guys
was Debo 2nd or 3rd round? 2nd round, right?
No, Debo was 2nd round and Fred Warner was 3rd round. But yeah, I think Willis is going to be the best. I mean, I know some people are like saying you're just too damn biased because you like Oklahoma, you like the offense and all that. There's just a couple of sleepers. We always get these late round guys who have something to prove, and I'm just not too big. I may get a little flack on the Moody part, but I don't know about what Jake Moody's going to be. Is he going to be a really good kicker, or is he going to be like a Roberto Aguayo who just goes 1 year as a 2nd round pick and then he's out of the league?
Right. So yeah, you know, who are we expecting him to be? You know, he's a 3rd-round pick, so we're expecting him to be a top 5 kicker, at
Yeah.
least a consistent kicker that makes the easy ones, occasionally makes the the deep ones. Like that's what we're expecting from a 3rd-round kicker. So we need him to be. I'm not going to say Justin Tucker because there's not too many Justin Tucker in this league.
You won't find many of those guys,
Yeah,
and he was undrafted.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm expecting him to be a top 5 kicker, especially where he was drafted at.
But those RBs that we get in the 3rd round, they are bust. Sermon and TDP. I think TDP is my low key disappointment because I don't know if he'll even make the team.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I like what the comment below. Those 3, Sermon and TDP. 3rd rounders. I think they overthink the 3rd rounders. I don't know what it is about the Niners and 3rd round picks. But Latu may fit in that category. We haven't seen him yet, so I'm not gonna write him off. But we know the history of Niners and 3rd round picks.
Yeah, we know pretty much how they are. But let's go on to another good debate right here. Mm-hmm. Since we don't want to negativity on our team, but I know it's just better just to see if they prove us wrong. But here's a buy or sell one.
Yeah.
Let's see if we agree on this one. Buy or sell Oren Burks is a starter at Sam linebacker.
I am going to sell. And here's why. I've seen Dee Winters' film. I'm expecting big things out of him. Again, I've heard, he showed up out of shape or, a little overweight or whatsoever, right? I think that can turn around. I think he'll fit as a Sam linebacker perfectly. He can fly around, and then Jalen Graham as well. So I'm expecting one of those two to eventually, if not at the start of the year, eventually take over as a starter this year. So
I can see why you would sell because it doesn't seem like an obvious starter right away. Yeah. But they invested like a short contract, so he's a special teamer. So I don't know if he would be the guy. I mean, we did drafted some low round guys that have blue chip on their shoulder. Yeah, I would think Marcelino McCrary Ball can make a strong push. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can go with the Dee Winters and Jalen Graham. I think everybody's underestimating Jalen Graham right now as we speak.
He has a frame. He's long arms, and I've heard really good things this spring. So again, I think it's going to be out of Winters and Graham. Eventually, I don't know. The Niners like to redshirt their players, their draft picks. But I think one of those two will end up taking over the job, and so I'm going to have to sell on that one.
Okay, I can respectfully understand. Because, I mean, I think he is going to be the starter, but I think he will be replaced down the stretch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And since we have a little extra time, maybe we can answer a couple of questions, and then you can throw in whatever random topic you prefer, Josh.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Give us any questions y'all want, and we'll be glad to listen.
Let's go. Start it up.
Start it up, man. Give me a couple questions here. Oh, let's talk about Ronnie Bell since Grandizer wants to throw it out there. That's your favorite guy,
right? Ronnie Bell. Excited to see what he can do. Again, a Shanahan guy. He's hard-nosed type of player. He's gonna catch the ball. He's going to block, and he's a returner. So I think Ronnie Bell he's gonna. If he does land on practice squad, I don't know for how long, but he'll end up taking over that 4-5 receiver, that receiver slot. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and how biased will Shanahan be with Ronnie Bell. I know that's his guy.
I know. Oh, this is an interesting one. I don't know if this will happen, but since East Coast Gridiron wants to put on a good question, what player on the 49ers do you think might be traded by Week 8? Okay, I'm going to go bold on this one.
Let's go.
I'm going to say Elijah Mitchell will be traded because the running back we got, Jordan Mason, that guy can make a strong case and be the running back. He's already making strides this offseason, so it wouldn't surprise me. I think Elijah Mitchell is as good as he is, but can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and no, I like that. I agree. Just because of the running backs that we have, and especially if TDP somewhat shows up and improves, like, okay, he could be that running back, that next running back, or, you know, prove his draft slot, I think Elijah Mitchell does become expendable. And I mean, there's not too many players that could be drafted on the Niners. So he's one of them. I would say Kinlaw's another one. And depending on how they want to – no, okay, I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say Debo, but they're not going to trade Debo, not on their Super Bowl run. They'll figure out the financial side, you know, when it comes to that time. So, yeah, I would say Elijah Mitchell and Kinlaw. Elijah Mitchell, number one for sure.
Yeah, because there's some trade value there. He kind of shown that he can be a type of running back but can't stay healthy. I like this question. Do we think we pick up Juice's final year option in 2024? I think we will. I think Juice is only good for a while. I think he's got a couple good years. It would be dumb on our part to move on for him.
And I agree. I mean, he's the best fullback in the league, right? I mean, obviously, hands down. But how much are we paying him, and how much can we afford to pay a fullback with our payroll right now? That's what it's going to come down to. It definitely has nothing to do with his talent and what he brings to the team.
Ooh, that's an easy question, Gritter. I'll tell you what. Easy. Brandon Ayuk will be a Pro Bowler.
Yes.
That one was easy because he didn't even get voted to the Pro Bowl last year.
And which is crazy. I think he's the number one. I think he's the Niners' best receiver, hands down.
Yeah, I think by far it would be him. And I got another player that might just be a surprise. I'll say Spencer Burford. He could be a Pro Bowl guard.
Nice. I see it. I can see both of those guys right there. Which is surprising. I think if Spencer played the whole year last year, he may have had a chance. You never know.
Yeah, and so we look at all the current situations, but hey, I think the Jordan Mason train is for real. I think that's why he can make a strongest push. Oh, what is the weakest part of the 49ers in position So what is the weakest part of the 49ers in position groups and in coaching? I think it really depends on our offensive line, coach. I don't know. Like outside of our offensive line talent, I'm not really that confident with Forrester, whatever his name is. I just don't like his type of what he does bring to the table. Like I feel like there's other better O-line coaches I feel that can bring better out of the players.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the tight end coach. I don't know. Like he looks like he could be Kittle's brother or something. But he played quarterback.
Right. I mean, I think they just place him there.
Yeah. I mean,
be a good coach. Go ahead, coach the tight ends. You know, we'll figure out the rest later down the road.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, this is a good question. Okay, I'm not gonna say nothing. This is your question right here.
So they paid Brindle to be the starter, and I believe they brought Feliciano to be that center guard combo guy, you know, just in case of injury or, you know, just in case they need him to play. So right now I think it's going to be Brindle, barring injury. I think if something happens to Brindle and Feliciano gets in there, I don't think he's giving that job back. So I think it's Jake Brindle's job to lose, and if Feliciano gets that opportunity, he's not going to give it back. Trust me on that.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that part because, you know, I think because they pay Brindle that type of money, he's going to be the guy. But and so if I'm Brindle, I better watch out. I better not get hurt because Feliciano will be taking your job.
Yeah, man, he's not giving it back. So and he's had his injury problems as well. So you know, he has to stay healthy. Brindle has to stay healthy. You know, because if Feliciano gets that job and he stays healthy, I think he's a pretty good offensive lineman, center guard combo type guy that won't give his job back to Brindle.
Yeah. But as far as like what Gridiron did say about position groups or coach, and I think the offensive line is pretty much like as far as coaching wise and the position, like outside of the backups, we don't have any quality depth behind them. Just only
right.
Yeah.
Right. And that right side has been a problem for some time now. At least 2 to 3 years from now. You know, it's been the weakest part of the line, right? So you got to be able to shore that side up. You know, you got to be a good coach.
Grandizer, I'll try not to be upset about Brandon. I'll just keep – I know he's going to be the starter, so that's not going to disappoint me.
Right.
No, because he's seen me how I trashed him a couple of times because of his missed blocks and all that. But I think that's why he's the guy. He's gonna have to put up some. So yeah, I checked out the state of the franchise he was on, and they were talking about what's the transition from him being the starter instead of being what he was, like a journeyman backup all around. Mm-hmm. Which I think you have to get your chances, and I think that's what happens. If you fit the system, you'll fit just fine.
Yeah, and also I think another reason why the Niners' offensive line has been kind of shaky, the right side. I mean, they haven't really invested in the offensive line if you think about it, and that has probably a lot to do with the picks that they gave up for Trey Lance, not being able to pick early to get an offensive lineman. But yeah, that's where the coach comes into play, and you have to, coach your butt off, man.
Yeah. As far as the lineup, who was my lineup? I would say every bit of the lineup is fine except the center position. But I think for right now, you have to stick with Brando for right now because he got the big contract and he's the guy. So if it were just me, I'll go with Feliciano because I like tough guys. And I think he's proven. But I think it just goes by how much they pay him and how much he's perform,
Right. What do you feel about the right tackle position? I know the center position is a question mark for you. What do you feel about the right tackle? Do you think he comes through? What do you think?
I think I think he'll show out a little better than what McGlinchey did a little bit. I don't know much as a run blocker, but I think as a pass blocker, he's kind of held his own.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, do you think we get to see Kalia Davis play? I think in the rotation he will be very viable, especially with our defensive line. We're going to have some injuries that stack up a little here and there, but if you get somebody like a Kalia Davis who can make some leaps being redshirt last year, he can be huge dividends.
Oh, yeah, and his I liked his college film as well. He has burst. He can get off that ball, which I think will lead to sacks and tackles for loss. So no, I'm excited to see him. I think he will make this will be his first year playing, but I think he's going to make some leaps.
Yeah, I think especially him just recovering and then getting into the offseason, I think he's going to make some strong leaps. He was like a linebacker coming out of college, then switched the position, and that's kind of intriguing.
Yeah, and you can see that burst in him. So I think that rotation with him and Givens, that's going to be a nice little rotation right there for sure.
Yeah, even with Kinlaw on the bench, it don't matter. I think our D tackles are pretty stacked, but I think that there's another one. T.Y. McGill's another guy. You got versatility with guys like Armstead and Kerry Hyder who can play anywhere in those spots. I mean, there's a lot to like about the defensive line.
That's going to be a nice position battle right there. I mean, we can't keep them all, right?
We can't keep them all, but somebody's going to get them.
That was a group they wanted to upgrade, especially how the Eagles just tormented us in that middle last year. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, we're all excited and all that stuff, but all BS aside, man, I think it's gonna have to be Jake Brendle's job to lose because you get your big payday. You got a promotion. Like you went from, like for his journey, he went from being in the bottom, just competing for a roster spot, and then he gets cut like how many times? And now he gets a higher position to be the starter and gets a solid payday. So, I can't hate on that. I mean, the guy got a big promotion. That's like you move up a little more. You know what I mean?
Right. And he played decent. He held his own.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking for a dominant offensive line, man. I'm like, I want somebody moving bodies in there. So
that's what I like about Feliciano.
He has that factor to him. He's moving bodies around. Throwing people out the clubs, I like to say.
Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about Jair Brown since he already mentioned that question. We'll go a couple more questions, then we'll end it on here.
Yeah.
Oh, I like what I've seen so far. He's been getting some interceptions. He's been making some consistent plays during the OTAs and stuff.
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot about Jair. I think that he's leading the camp in interceptions. And that's what I feel like. That's what they drafted him for, to be that ball hawk in that back end. He's smart. So the only question I have is his 4.6 speed. I don't think it's going to be a problem just because of his instincts. And to my knowledge, and from what I'm hearing around the building, they haven't. You haven't really seen anything with his speed that's going to hinder him from making plays. So I'm excited. I think he'll start before the year is over for sure.
Oh yeah, I think he'll make a strong push down the stretch because it's going to be Gibson's job to lose at this point because they're not going to just hand it to the rookie.
Right, rightfully so. And Gibson, he showed out last year. He did what he was supposed to do as a vet, and him and Huff worked great together, and because they showed it, they proved it. So rightfully so. Let the vet take over for a little bit, and we'll hand it to the rook later on.
Yeah, and to answer Grandad's question, no, I wouldn't want Tabor Pepper to be our starting center. No, I think you just have to go with Brando because of what they paid him for. I would prefer Feliciano because of the experience and the savviness, but when you're getting a big payday, you can't really – you got to go with the guy you paid a lot of money on.
Right.
But, if that answers your question, Grandizer, it would have to be Feliciano for me, but Brando just earned his payday, so you're going to have to give it to the guy that got promoted.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, and Brian Cope, good to see you. Hopefully you didn't take the criticism of your kicker. I just wanted to see if he can be more than just a third-round pick.
Yeah, hit that like button, everyone.
Yeah, kick that like button. Give me that Jake Moody like button, man. Give me some accuracy, man. Man, kick me some more people, man, because me and Josh are putting the grind, man.
Yeah, we just getting started, baby. It's good. We're gonna build up.
Yeah, this is just two guys that know the game of football. Yeah. But this guy actually made it bigger. So
I love talking about the Niners. So keep talking up. We will, especially during the year, it's gonna be some great conversations. Oh
yeah, and especially you coming from your family genes. I mean, your dad was a really great linebacker for his time. But I mean, I didn't know that he played other positions, and he wouldn't credit himself as a hybrid player actually.
I mean, he was one of the first hybrids of his era. So he played the, 70, 73, 81, 71, 81. So he was like one of the first linebackers at 215 and running like a 4.5. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's so interesting. Then he told me that when he played at Nebraska, these cornerbacks weren't even fast. They were 4.7 speed guys, but they won a championship with Harder out there. So not many of those type of guys.
The game has changed, and that defensive line was dominant at Nebraska that they had. So they had a bunch of All-Americans on that D-line. So that's probably why they didn't need, no speed back there.
Yeah. Hey, let's make an interesting question right here. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be competitive. What's your thoughts of Seattle this year? You think they're going to make a leap, or you think we still might give them a push for it?
I mean, that year one, they caught them by surprise. They caught everybody by surprise. I definitely think that they'll compete at the top of the NFC West. You can't count them out, right? Gino did his thing, right? And if he can build on that, or at least stay at that same level as he did last year, I can see them being another playoff team. They had a great draft. So yeah, I think that Seattle could replicate what they did last year. They'll be good.
But do you think we take the division again, or do you think Seattle?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Niners are taking the division. They've been there. They're more experienced. Seattle is a little on the younger side, and Gino this was his first time actually having a really good year. So, but I think they'll be a good team. They'll be a good team.
Oh, yeah. And then speaking of another guy we didn't even mention about was Marlon Davis, who we signed like months ago. I think he's an intriguing one. He might even make a strong case to make the roster. He might even beat out Kinlaw. Who knows?
Yeah. He's the one. He was with the Falcons, right?
Second round pick.
Yeah, former high draft pick, former second round draft pick. The Niners' history of bringing on defensive linemen who were highly touted but didn't really pan out. They come to the Niners to get their payday, and they proved they were drafted where they were supposed to be drafted. So I think he can be that next person. Second round guy who didn't pan out comes to the Niners. They get him right. They have the D line to groom him and make sure he's playing up to his ability. So I think he can. I think he can make the team. Again, that D line group, it's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be some cuts that's like, dang, I didn't know he was going to get cut. So it's going to be a tough battle.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's just, we're just going to – I just think the depth is pretty good. I don't know about overreaching overseas. It just really depends on their time schedules. I've worked with a couple of these guys from the UK. They're good people. They just have different time zone. If we get a schedule in, then it would be all right. But
yeah. And I'm new to the group. So man, I haven't really had a chance to reach out to anybody and get on anybody's show yet. But we'll see. I'm down to work with everybody. So
yeah, work as a team. But
yeah. Sure.
First of all, we're trying to make this the best brand we can make.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure.
Sure. Josh is getting new to the game. So, but the difference is he knows the game. He knows the receivers, man. This guy is a receiver guru.
Yeah, man. I like to say, think of myself like that. And I was coached by the best. So, Keith Williams over there in Baltimore. So everything I know came from him. I mean, as far as receiver play, so
I mean, you look at your resume, you were like at least in the top 3 in Fresno State history with the receptions and touchdowns.
Yeah, top 3 across the board, man. So, I had a pretty decent career, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, for all those players, man, they can't say much about it, but it is what it is. But but for everybody else, maybe about 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll go from there.
What you got?
What you guys got, man? Tommy, you can throw in any random question, and we'll be glad to just give you any random. I like some funny questions sometimes, just to get us an idea. But Josh is kind of adjusting to the new game, but we might work with a couple of new guesses. So we'll try to get Croc on pretty soon. But
Croc, my guy.
We got to get his takes on Jameson and those other guys.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. But if I need to know more about receivers, I go to this guy. Offensive line, that's me.
Yeah, you got to teach me more about that old line, man.
That trenches, man. It gets unnoticed at times, But playing center,
I see you're a big Feliciano fan too.
Dude, I like anybody who's tougher, man. But,
tough dude right there.
Oh yeah, we do have a huge fan base in Mexico, of course. I think so because we travel pretty well. But
for sure.
I mean, I don't know if I'm a big Feliciano fan. I think he's at least better than what Brendel is. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree with that.
I mean, I did play center, so I'm a center guy. So I have a reason to criticize, but I'm not around, so I don't know. So I just go by what I see. But you know what? Since nobody's asking random questions, Josh, you can throw in whatever question you want, man. We'll go with that.
All right, so I do have one. I have one that the mainstream media is throwing around. I believe Adam Scheffner said it. Do you buy or sell? We'll go to buy or sell. Do you buy or sell that Sam Darnold has the track at the number 2 quarterback?
Want to give me your question? Hell to the no.
Right. There we go.
I mean, that is a good one because that's thrown out there, the hype. That's why you have him as your disappointment list.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't buy it.
That's exactly why. I don't get it. Like the mainstream media is like, oh, Sam Darnold could be this, he could be that. Trey Lance is a bust, but Darnold has been playing all these games, but Trey Lance hasn't. He's been injured, but he's the bust.
So I don't get the naysayers on that part. I mean, I got to see more out of Trey before I even come into conclusion.
Right. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Josh Allen or anything. Right. I just want to see what is he?
What is he at this point? Yeah, because we invested a lot.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say Feliciano does have that Spanish name, so yeah, I guess so. But he's Italian. I think he's Italian, but yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get him on maybe one day, but he seems like a good one when it comes to trenches and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Teach us a lot.
Especially when I had Lincoln Kennedy on, man. I was picking on trenches knowledge on those type of what he thinks of the position.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a good dude. I mean, Aaron Banks. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Aaron Banks. Do you like his play? I heard some things about him. I like his style of play. He kind of made a very strong leap from being redshirt, and he's kind of held his own. He hasn't given up a lot of sacks. He's kind of given up the least pressures, and I think this entire season, I don't think he's given up a single sack. Right?
I want to say you're correct.
I think a couple of pressures, but no sacks.
That left side, man.
It's locked.
Yeah.
Locked down. Forget about it. Like if you're gonna go on the left side, forget about it.
Forget about it. That's why all the pass rusher specialists is going on the right side.
Silverback's right there, and you got Big Banks right there. You're done. But go on the right side, try to test Spencer, and he'll prove to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I guess Tommy agrees on that part. Doo-doo.
Oh yeah. We know what he is.
Hey, let me put like a random like out of the topic question. Who do you think will win a boxing match, Aaron Donald or Aaron Banks?
Ooh, I can't go against Aaron Donald.
Hey, but two big nasties go at each other, man.
Two big dudes right there.
Not like physical, but kind of like who you think would win the battle overall.
I mean, Donald, man, they're both a beast. They're both a beast.
They're both Aarons.
Yeah, they're both Aarons. I'm Niners all the way. So I guess I'll have to say. Banks.
That would be kind of tough. But let's talk on Isaiah Winston and Shea Wyatt. What do you think of those guys?
So Winston, I mean, what I saw when his clips that went viral, big dude, he can move, really good route runner. He's good off the ball with releases and everything. What I saw, but you have a lot of those clips were practice clips. So
yeah,
we have to see those in the game. I mean, I did see some highlights in the game with him, getting off of press and route running. Not so much of the practice clips, but I think he's a project. He'll go on practice squad and hopefully they can groom him into something. And then Shea Wyatt, he's not the North Carolina kid. He's Tulane.
No, he's the Tulane receiver.
I don't know much about Shea. I'll have to dive into him. I'll have to dive into Shea.
I think we cut him, if I'm mistaken.
Oh, really?
I think I'll have to look at the roster, but yeah, we'll get to those topics another day. But for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. Leave some questions in the community tab. We'll definitely try to put those as discussions. But for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. And for my boy Josh Harper, tell everybody where they can find your platform and have a saying, brother.
Instagram, jharp2, Twitter, jharp2.
Maybe we'll have to put you as jharp2 on your name.
Hey, I'm with it.
Or Josh Harper. I guess it's more professional for you.
jharp2. You can either or. I'm with both. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, but for everybody else, have a great day. And as always, go Niners.